As a kid, I always kind of remember just being obsessed with dressing up.
Oh yeah. You've got a long, long list of guys at your feet, but I will resist letting it happen to me. You know I want to kiss you every time we meet. You tell me I'm the only one, but baby I'm the fucking dumb. You can't play your games with me because your body's a work of art. So I play my part. Yeah, I knew right from the start.
As a kid, I always kind of remember just being obsessed with dressing up and face paint. I always wanted my face painted. I think one of my earliest memories of that is we had this bookshelf in the conservatory, which is now my gym. And there was these books. One was like homemade costumes, and the other was like face painting. And I just remember always flicking through these books all the time, just being fascinated by it and always wanting my face painted. So yeah, I've kind of always been into quirky stuff, dressing up and everything like that. It's always fascinated me.
I'm Stephanie and I'm a cosplayer. My cosplays are mainly known for my mashups. So if you've seen behind the makeup, you'd have seen that I did a mashup cosplay between Assassin's Creed and Huntress from the DC universe. I like putting those two characters together, especially because she's got this sort of breaking the rules side of her and sort of badass kind of thing. And then it just mixes really well with the Assassin's Creed because, well, she's an assassin as well. So that just hits the nail on the head.
So when I was always spending my time in London as an adult, and I was always seeing these posters like advertised for MCM London and stuff like that. And I was like, what is this? I keep seeing it. So I was on the tube. So I did a bit of a search. I was like, oh wow, this is like extreme dressing up. It's like right at my alley. So I could never find anyone to go with me, and I wasn't very confident to go anywhere by myself. But eventually in 2015, I kind of talked a friend and an ex into going to Comic-Con with me. So I just found this off the rack costume from a Halloween shop, and it happened to be like, I think it was Arkham Asylum Harlequin. So yeah, I kind of made a bat, like painted this bat, wrapped it in like electrical tape to get the stripes on it. We were good to go. So off we went to London Film and Comic-Con, and from the moment I stepped into that Comic-Con, I was absolutely in awe. There were so many people that were dressed up, and there was people, literally, I was like, these are my people. I was walking around that Comic-Con that day in awe of all the cosplayers. Like, there's so many different costumes, and the level of detail and creativity in these costumes was just amazing to me.
So in the works for my cosplays in the future, I've decided to give the old Huntress Assassin's Creed a bit of a revamp, bring her back out of the cobwebs. Here we've got the bust here, and this is what I'm working on at the moment. I'm trying to make her a bit more curvaceous, just because I started putting weight on like about 6 months ago, and I kind of want to lean into it. I don't want to go down and like really small again. I kind of really want to work with curves, but obviously just tone up and do the whole gym thing and just look a bit better. But I kind of really want to work with the curves as well. I would replace this corset, which is from my just worn and torn over the years, but I think it sort of adds to it, just that she's been through some stuff, you know. Also, I've got in the works as well, I want to do Scarlet Witch from WandaVision, just because I feel I just owe it to her. I just owe it to the character because of how she helped me through such a difficult time and helped me find my eureka moment and just stop making me feel alone. The best things about cosplay is the creativity that you get from it and how that creativity can feed into different parts of your life. I also love how I've met such a community of people, starting with my boyfriend Charlie and then going into a wider circle of people, and even the friends that I already had and I didn't know they did cosplay before this, and learnt new things about them and bonded even more with them.
So I think your personal creativity like does come into the cosplaying. For me, when I'm making an outfit, it's a whole creative process. It can be a bit stressful at times, especially with sewing machines. But as a whole, like, it's almost like a journey. So you get a character you really want to do, you put everything into that. You make the costume. I'm a perfectionist, so I go into every detail and try and get it as accurate as I can. And again with the makeup, just trying to nail that makeup look for the character. It's definitely a journey, but when you get to the end of it, it's very uplifting to know you've created this character that you're desperate to do, and then you can wear it to Comic-Con, and it's just like, it does make you feel good. And again, I think for your mental health, it is really good for that, just because you feel so amazing. You've put every ounce of your being into creating different characters and the different look, and yeah, I really do think it is beneficial for your mental health as well, because it just does give you this amazing feeling afterwards when you're all finished and you're at Comic-Con and you're enjoying yourself. And like, you get cosplayers and oh, your costume's amazing, and it's not being vain, it's very humbling. Like, someone actually appreciates what you've created. And like, I'll always go, like, if I see something that's like, wow, like, I have to go up and be like, oh, your costume looks amazing. Like, I think at the end of the day, like, everyone else as well as you have put so much time and effort into that cosplay. It doesn't hurt you to give them a compliment. That's what I'm all about. Like, build people up. It's just an amazing thing. Like, always stay humble when you're cosplaying.
And that also brings me up to another point, is how it really helps your mental health and helps you as a person, helps your character, helps your confidence, helps you just lean into different things. One of the biggest things for me was the grief process. So when my nan passed away, this was nearly 5 years ago now, she was suffering from dementia, and she was a big part of my childhood. And like I said in Behind the Makeup, I was bullied. I had a really tricky childhood, and I learned after filming that there'd been a lot of conflict in my family. And I found that I grew up around this, and I had this huge painful side of me, which was this fear of abandonment. And I didn't realise the grief after my nan had died, how that had lifted up and sort of creeped into all corners of my life, sort of like venom, just like sliding on in there and just messing with everything. But I found that I leaned into characters in TV shows during lockdown, which brought all the grief to the surface, and I went to seek therapy, and I just couldn't hide from it anymore. It's so important how characters can bring that out of you, and it helped not just me, but characters on television and in film, even in comic books, how they help people get through everyday situations and help them understand themselves, because they've got such high personality quirks and they're going through things on such a obvious scale, and sometimes not obvious at all until it clicks and there's like, that's what's going on, and you realise, I connect with that, that's what I'm going through. I saw myself in Behind the Makeup, and I saw myself now, and I could tell then she wasn't fully better, she's still got a journey to go through, and I could see the difference through therapy. And I hope watching this back as well, I can see how much I've grown as well, and I just want to go further and just do better. and just be better, really. And I think that is a big note I hope people can take out of my book, is there's nothing wrong with you. You're just always just there to improve. At the end of the day, you're doing it for yourself, and you should be proud of yourself, whatever you do.
In 2015, I wasn't in the greatest place mental health wise. I've suffered with an eating disorder for quite a lot of my 20s and 30s. I'm now 32, but with my eating disorder, I got really bad to the point I was anorexic, so I was severely underweight, and it got to a point where I was told if my potassium level didn't get up, I would be hospitalised because I was a walking heart attack risk. So I wasn't very confident in myself. I hated everything about myself, from everything, just my body, like how I looked. I just didn't believe like I was good enough for anyone. So in 2015, I was probably about 7 stone. I was severely underweight. Unfortunately, just before I started cosplaying, I lost my grandmother, who was my absolute best friend. So I was dealing with grief on top of an eating disorder and stuff. And I suppose doing more Comic Cons and that, I did get more confident. But during that period, I was in a relationship that ended up becoming domestically abusive. I think when you're happy, you glow differently. And that's quite a stereotypical thing to say, but when you're happy, you glow differently. And I wasn't happy, and you could see it behind my eyes. But to be honest, when I see my friends at Comic-Con, like, because you're having such a good time, you're having a laugh and everything, it gives you that little bit of uplift. They're so happy to see you, and I'm happy to see them. So they were aware what was going on, and because I had such a strong support network around me, I left that situation, that nasty, toxic, vile situation of where I was being made to feel basically like someone's housemaid, not good enough, like ugly, and he'd make comments about my body and stuff, like just commenting on how I look, because I'd started to get into my working out and stuff for my cosplays, and I was yet again in my life made to feel like I was ugly, not good enough, because I'm building muscle. I was told I looked like a man, so that didn't make me feel too good about myself. But because I had, at this point, I'd been cosplaying a few years, I had such a strong support network with the friends that I've made, I found the courage to leave, which took some effort, a lot of effort. There's nothing quite like cosplay, because it's an escape, yes, but the people you meet from it and the people I've met from it, they're such amazing people, and I honestly don't know where I'll be without them. Like, I couldn't imagine them not in my life now, because they've helped me through so much. It was unreal. So I think in cosplay, it has really helped my mental health, and it's a beautiful thing. And I kind of strive to give that back to other people, because I know a lot of us do suffer with varying different problems, whether it's your mental health, otherwise things going on in your life, and I just want to be able to give that back to someone as much as possible, even if it's just like a nice comment about their costume or something. You never know what that person's going through, so if you can kind of bring them up a bit, make them feel good about themselves, it's a good thing. Like, it's a really good thing.
I long to get lost down gobbled streets, fueling the fire and the nerd you see. Absorbed into alleys, my height perfect for nooks and crannies, tucked away hotspots of history.
I started doing poetry recently as well, and since before Christmas, and I've just found that there's so many aspects that I've taken from it, of like mashing cosplays together and like looking at different themes of cosplays and different characters. And one of the things in my poetry is books and how they help, like for instance, my dreams or my mental health, which a lot of my poems are centered around, how the novelists and the stories help with that. Another thing that I feel is massively great about cosplay is the community. I found in the community not only new friends, I found my friends that I already had are doing cosplay and I didn't even know. And it's made our friendship stronger, and we're bonding over so many more things. Also a community like groups. So my first con, I usually like to foresee something happening and sort of know in my head, okay, this is probably how it's going to go. I didn't at all for my first con. I was nervous. I was like, I've never done anything like this before. And first the community started with Charlie, who's my partner, who helped me decide the cosplays, helped me feel the confidence in myself, because I was in an Assassin's Creed outfit, but I had my legs out and I was like, I'm not that confident with my body. So I was like, somebody helped me feel comfortable doing that. He did the cosplay with me, but also the Assassin's Creed Cosplay Brotherhood. That weekend, they were one of the first groups of people I met, and they welcomed us in, and they are so accepting, so loving. But also another thing about community as well is making new friends, and ones that I've had the 3 a.m. conversations with about stuff going on in our lives. I've even been able to talk to a couple of them during lockdown, which was such an entirely painful thing for the whole world to go through, where we all felt super lonely and isolated. But reaching out to cosplay friends that I'd made throughout the years, it just really, I was so thankful for it, because it really reinforced that feeling of I'm not alone.
Just be nice to everyone when you're cosplaying, because we all struggle with our mental health to varying degrees, some of us more than others. Just be nice and be humble and appreciate the people you know, and appreciate your friends, because life's too short. It's literally too short. You don't want to turn around one day and look back and go, I wish I had it done. Just try and push every day, and even if you're feeling rubbish, just try and push through it and be positive and know that it does get better. Slowly, it does get better.
Ooh, yeah. You've got a long, long list.